Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Star Wars Expanded Universe. Now redubbed by Disney or current Lucasfilm, whichever way you slice it, Legends. Today, we have the final adult novel leading up to Episode 1 of the Star Wars Expanded Universe before we actually begin Episode 1. There's, of course, Darth Plagueis, which goes over numerous events in time, takes place around this book, after this book, during episode 1, slightly after episode 1, lots of before episode 1. So that's also somewhere in here if you're reading chronologically and you're a freak like me. Otherwise, it's just this novel, Darth Maul, Shadow Hunter, by Michael Reeves. What's important to note is Lorne Pavin. This is a character who we won't see again for reasons you would have to read to find out. But Jax Pavin will be a character moving forward along with I-5, the droid, who's awesome, by the way. It's the first time we're seeing I-5. I'm excited to see whatever stories we have left with I-5. To give you a non-spoiler synopsis of this story, without getting into spoilers too much. One of the Neimoidians, I forget the name, obviously not the ones we see in episode 1, they know that there's a Sith Lord because they've been dealing with a Sith Lord. One of them decides, I don't trust this guy, but you know what I can do? I can give the information that I know already, and this holocron that Sidious made for some reason, but okay. That was a little weird, but... and sell it to the highest bidder. Rest assured, Sidious and Plagueis can't have that. Of course, Plagueis is not mentioned in this novel, but Sidious can't have that. So he sends Maul to kill the Neimoidian. At the same time, we have Lorne Pavin and I-5, who are kind of like smugglers, think like Han Solo and stuff. And they just want to live a normal life, get paid a big chunk of money, and then bolt. And they, from a hut, find out about this. Not about the Sidious, obviously. They learn about the information that the guy is trying to sell, and they want to talk to him about it. We also have this Jedi character with who's trying to become a Jedi Knight, and so she's sent on a mission down in the lower cities of Coruscant because of all the gangs and stuff that are down there and stuff. And if she can, in a previous comic, Darth Maul messed up Black Sun, the one of the leading criminal organizations besides, like Jabba the Hutt and everything, and the whole Hutt syndicate. The Black Sun's really high up there, and Black Sun will be an issue for Luke and friends. Way down the line, they will be an issue for Luke and friends. But, so she's down there. Eventually, basically what you need to know is that all those stories kind of converge. And it's an epic adventure, really fun all the way through, really fast-paced. You get to, be inside Maul's head. You get to be inside this new character, Lorne Pavin's head, I-5, the Jedi girl. You have all this stuff, right? And, of course, I'm not going to give you spoilers, but obviously by episode 1, people still don't know about the Sith. They don't know that they have returned. So what happens to our characters? You have to read to find out. But it was absolutely a really, really fun read. I said this about Cloak of Deception, but I think I have to take that back. Some people might prefer Maul Lockdown because it's more like violent and stuff, but I'm going to say it right now. I think Darth Plagueis is one of my favorite books of all time, period, in the Star Wars Expanded Universe or otherwise. But Shadowhunter may have to be my favorite, besides Plagueis, my favorite novel before episode 1. This is it's really fun. The character I-5 and Lorne, they have such good chemistry. I-5's so cool. I want to see more of him. Lorne was very interesting with his struggles and whatnot. I don't want to get into it because non-spoilers. Even the new Jedi character was was pretty interesting and a fun character to read about. And even Maul, we get to go inside his head, of course, and this is Maul before Episode 1, before the Clone Wars, so this is the most we probably get of him characterization wise, other than the Maul lockdown, but that came out after this book. But I don't know, I just thought it was really well balanced, and I really, really enjoyed the story it had to tell. So, um, yeah, that's pretty much it for non-spoilers. I'm trying to be as vague as possible because there's a lot of fun things in here. But if that sounds interesting to you in the slightest, like this is literally like 2 weeks before Episode 1, so like we are on the precipice of the movie happening. But so it'd definitely be like one of the last things you read before watching the movie again or reading the novelization. So that's going to be it for non-spoilers. If you don't want spoilers, if that sounds interesting to you, go buy it, go read it, have fun. And I'm going to get into spoilers now. If you don't want spoilers, I'm going to be getting into it. So for veterans, they can stay. If you don't want spoilers or you just don't care, I'm going to do it. Last warning, I'm going to get into it. If you don't want it, leave. Otherwise, it's on you. So, one of the first things we learn about is that Lorne hates Jedi. Of course, we later on learn that the reason he just despises Jedi is because he used to be like somebody who worked at the Jedi Temple, despite the fact that he was not, like a Jedi. He was just a normal guy. But his son was Force sensitive. And the moment they found that out, they convinced him to give over his kid to them, and then fired him. Because they said, now you have to stay away from your kid because your kid can have attachment. And so, of course, Lorne is understandably upset about that. Maul, of course, eventually kills the Neomodian, but then learns that Lorne Pavin now has this information. So now, the quest for Maul continues. He's slaughtered one guy, but now he must go and kill this Lorne. So it becomes mostly what the book's about. And then we get to the part where all the stories kind of converge. You have I-5, you have Maul, you have the Jedi Lady, and all those stories converge. When that happened, that was really fun. I didn't actually have too many spoilers in here. I just realized, but whatever. Bant gets mentioned, which was really cool. I think this was during Darsha's part. Darsha's talking about how she knows Obi-Wan Kenobi and some of the other Jedi she knows at the temple, and she mentions Bant. Bant, of course, being a character that appeared in the Jedi Apprentice series. She was a Mon Calamari species, and she was good friends with Obi-Wan Kenobi. What I also really enjoyed was that I-5 apparently used to be a nanny droid, like he took care of these kids, and these kids are just awful to them. They'd, ask him to jump off the ledge and see how much he could bounce, and once Lorne finds him, he removes a lot of his inhibitor chips and stuff, removes his creativity barrier thing, and he just becomes the closest thing we have to sentience in Star Wars. I mean, there's a couple other characters too that get like that, but I-5 is one of the most, next to like, I don't know, I'm thinking like Bullocks and C-3PO and stuff. He's a very human character for a droid, and I love that. And I enjoy the relationship that kind of built up with Lorne and the Jedi Darsha. And it's sad, of course, because she dies. She knows she can't defeat Maul, but she bides I-5 and Lorne time. They Han Solo their way out of the situation, because I-5 has the idea to put them in carbonite, and they do make it out of that alive, though Maul thinks they're dead. And this is part of the book which I didn't think Lorne was that stupid. I guess it's just a matter of plot. You have to. I mean, it was perfect for I-5 because it had nothing to do with what he wanted. But for Lorne, it was a very intentional thing on his part, and I just don't know how I felt about that. Basically, Lorne decides once he's out of that he's gonna go try to kill Darth Maul. And so, with this guy he doesn't really trust, but kind of trusts, he asks him to take I-5 to the temple, so that way I-5 can tell the Jedi, about the Sith. When Lorne leaves, the guy's like, bro, this thing's worth a lot of money. All I have to do is memory wipe it, and I'm good. And that's what he does. He doesn't go to the Jedi Temple because Lorne never told him what the droid needed to tell the Jedi. So he just bolts and leaves. That one is tragic. That one makes perfect sense as to why that information never makes it to the temple. Lorne, however, he's going... I mean, he even acknowledges that it's kind of like a suicide run, but he goes in to do that, and it just... I understand they had to find a reason for him not to be able to go to the temple because no one knows in episode 1. But that was the only thing. Because I thought the I-5 one worked perfectly. Like, worked within the story and everything. This one felt kind of like they had to find a way. But anyway, he goes over there, fights Maul. He actually gets away from Maul. Maul doesn't get him. But he runs into Palpatine. And that's kind of where the story ends. Well, there's a couple more chapters after the fact. But, and it elaborates more in the Darth Plagueis book that, you know, he went to a hotel, he was supposed to get a new hand, because his hand got chopped off by Darth Maul. And before he got the chance, well, Maul made sure to finally finish the job. So Lorne Pavin is no more. And then the last couple chapters are literally during episode 1. So, or like right before it begins. So, yeah, overall, this book, I loved it. I didn't have that many spoilers to actually talk about, but, you know, some of those things were spoiler enough to where I didn't want to tell people who hadn't read it that stuff. But definitely worth your time, I think. This is probably one of the best pre-episode 1 books, in my opinion. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what else Michael Reeves has in store for us in the expanding universe. And I hope you all join me for that when we get to that. Up next is... I guess, a review of Plagueis and parts of the episode 1 novelization that aren't directly the movie, because I don't really want to review the movie because people already know the movie. So we'll see what happens there. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And may the Force be with you.